These are the people on Georgia's death row. Virgil Presnell, 48 years on death row. He is incarcerated for assaulting two young girls in 1976 as they were on their way home. Lori Smith, 8 years old, was killed by Presnell, who also essayed her 10-year-old friend. In August 1976, Presnell was found guilty of essay, kidnapping, and malice murder. In 1992, his death sentence was overturned, but in 1999 it was reinstated. Presnell was scheduled for execution in 2022, but because of the global situation at that time, he ended up avoiding it. James Rogers, 42 years on death row. In May 1982, James Randall Rogers received a death sentence in Floyd County for torturing and murdering his neighbor, a 75-year-old lady. Grace Perry passed away on May 21, 1980, when a rake handle was pushed up her private area with such force that it ruptured a lung and caused severe bleeding. Additionally, he attacked Edith Polston, Perry's cousin, who was 63 years old. Rogers was on parole for burglary at the time of the murder. Since 1994, the trial court has been considering his case about mental retardation. Dallas Holliday, 38 years on death row. In November 1986, he was given a death sentence in Jefferson County for the March 11 murder of Leon Johnson Williams, 66 years old. Holliday assaulted Mr. Williams while he was out for his daily morning stroll, shooting him and striking him in the head at least 7 times. The night before, Holliday had broken into a house and taken the item that would be used as the murder weapon. Holliday was previously convicted of several felonies. Michael Miller, 36 years on death row. In November 1988, he received a death sentence in Walton County for the robbery and murder of Larry Judson Sneed, 35 years old. On October 29, 1987, Sneed was traveling down a Walton County road when his car was shot at, forcing him to pull off the road. Mr. Sneed was wounded in the back and bled to death after he got out and tried to run. Miller and the co-conspirator had abducted a man during a break-in 2 days prior. Leonard Drane, 32 years on death row. On June 13, 1990, Renee Blackmon was picked up by Drane and co-defendant David Willis, who then took her to a remote road. On July 1, 1990, Miss Blackmon's body was discovered in a lake. Her throat had been slit at least 6 times, and she had been shot in the head with a shotgun. She had a rope fastened to a brake drum. Drane asserted after his arrest that Williams had relations with the victim, shot her, and then because she was still breathing, he slit her neck. Drane also claimed that he was unaware that Willis would murder the victim and that he was not involved in her demise. He did, however, acknowledge that he assisted Willis with burning her clothing, washing Willis's truck, concealing the gun, and disposing of the body. He also said that he stayed with Willis for 3 weeks until their arrest. He asserted that his fear of Willis was the reason behind his actions. Demarcus Sears, 31 years on death row. On October 7, 1990, he and Philip Williams abducted Gloria Ann Wilbur. Then over the course of 4 hours, they robbed, essayed, stabbed, and beat her with brass knuckles. In May 1991, Williams received 2 life sentences. Ashley Jones, 29 years on death row. Jones and co-defendant Alan Brunner were driving a stolen car in Ware County on March 31, 1993, while intoxicated, when the vehicle experienced mechanical issues. Jones sought for assistance when he knocked on Carlton Keith Holland's door. Jones struck Mr. Holland's head with a wrench and then a sledgehammer while his wife looked on through the window, and Mr. Holland, 39, leaned over the engine. Brunner received a life sentence without the possibility of parole. Lyndon Pace, 28 years on death row. Pace is a burglar and serial killer. He killed and robbed elderly women between 1988 and 1989, mostly in the Vine City section of Atlanta. Coretta Scott King, the widow of Martin Luther King Jr., was one of the victims of his burglary. Pace received a death sentence for his crimes after being found guilty of 4 murders. It is widely believed he was responsible for a 5th, but he was not tried for it. Billy Raulerson, 28 years on death row. He murdered 3 people in Ware County, Georgia, over the course of 2 days, for killing 2 teens, one of whom he after killing her, and for killing a woman he robbed the next day, he was given 3 death sentences. Frederick Whatley, 27 years on death row. He was given a death sentence in Spalding County for the robbery and beating death of a McDonald's restaurant employee on November 3, 1993. Mark Fugate, the 18-year-old victim, was a crucial witness against Wallace Marvin Fugate III, his own father, who murdered his mother. He was likewise incarcerated on Georgia's death row and was put to death in 2002. James Lee, 27 years on death row. A Charlton County Superior Court jury found Lee guilty and condemned him to death. He killed Sharon Varnador Chansey, his 43-year-old stepmother, by shooting her on November 17, 1996. Even though Lee begged the jury to spare him because he wasn't the same person that he was when he killed his stepmother, he claimed that killing was so simple that it would be easy to do it again when he was first questioned by the police. Lee was just 22 years old when he got the death penalty. Michael Nance, 27 years on death row. In 2002, he was found guilty of murder and given the death penalty for shooting and murdering a bystander following a 1993 bank heist. Nance asked to be executed by firing squad instead of the lethal injection because he fears the medication will fail to render him unconscious due to the back pain treatments he has had over the years. The prosecutor believed this is just a strategy because Nance is trying to avoid the lethal injection, the only means of execution that is legal in Georgia. Leon Tollette, 27 years on death row. Tollette was requested to come from Los Angeles, California to join Xavier Womack, who had been plotting a crime in Columbus, Georgia. Plans for the armed theft of an armored truck were finalized by Tollette, Womack, and the third guy, Jaquith Robinson, after they got to Columbus. The group followed an armored truck belonging to Brinks to the South Trust Bank on December 21, 1995. Womack was watching across the street, Robinson sat prepared as the getaway driver, and Tollette sat waiting with a newspaper close to the bank. When victim John Hamilton brought a money bag back to the Brinks' truck from the bank, Tollette came up behind him and shot him in the head, back, and legs, killing him. As Tollette ran away with the money bag, Carl Crane, the driver of the Brinks truck, and Cornell Christensen, the driver of a nearby Loomis Fargo truck, pursued him and shot him. Tollette shot back at his pursuers. Womack helped Tollette escape by firing rounds from across the street, but in the end, Womack and Robinson drove off without Tollette. David Franks, 26 years on death row. David Scott Franks was found guilty by a whole county jury of burglary, theft, 2 counts of aggravated assault, 2 counts of cruelty to a child, armed robbery, and malice murder. For the deliberate killing of Deborah Diane Wilson, the jury recommended a death sentence after finding 5 statutory aggravating circumstances beyond a reasonable doubt. Please hit that subscribe button if you like my channel. See you next time. Bye-bye.